Welcome to another episode of the Popko Project Podcast, a platform for the discussion and discovery of arts and entertainment. And today I'm joined by Patrick Motto. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. How about yourself?
Good. I feel like we're one step closer to officially meeting in person.
I
Up
think
until
so.
up until now, it was just through words on a screen, and now we're quote unquote face to face
Yeah.
in a digital age. And maybe one day we'll have the pleasure of meeting in actual real life.
Well, send me your address and I'll be there around like probably 1 or 2. So if you
Okay,
hear a strange
we'll
knock
wrap.
on the door,
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
just
wrap things
knock.
up. Yeah, wrap things up and then come on up.
I don't know how Ding Dong Ditch works, but I'm like, I could look it up quick at Google or something,
You can't
and
do
you
that
look out
anymore.
and
You can't do it anymore. There's too many
I don't know what it
cameras.
is. So,
Yeah, you just ring the doorbell and you ditch.
oh, well, that makes more sense than what I was thinking. Oh my God. Like, I hope he doesn't have a ring camera. He's going to catch Ding Dong Ditch.
You're gonna get a dong in there too.
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, I feel like I connected with you online um just through the radio show and things like that. And then you came up in conversation with the guys in Kitchen Teeth. I forget what episode they were, maybe two late 230s, early 240s maybe. I
Mhm.
forget. But I'm happy to have you on. I mean, you just released a new album. That's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. It was kind of it was so weird because like the one before it, what I released in December was before there were storms, and that one took a good, year and a half, 2 years, something like that, with the writing process and everything going on. And I think that when I thought I was close to being done with it, I was still like writing other songs. But you know how those whole B-sides or something's not going to make the album? It was like I had a couple things laying around, but all of a sudden things were just going at a real nice flow. And this one, from the first note till master and release, was 10 months after the last album. And for me, that was weird because I've taken 5 years because of lack of motivation, uh, you know, just feeling I suck, the whole self-degradation
Yeah.
moments that you get as an artist, and just not maybe feeling motivated enough to do it. But I was happy with the last one, and so I thought, do it. Just get it
Yeah.
done, and the more you apply, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. I feel like you've released a lot of music, within a short time frame. But before we get into all that, you've been performing, so what, almost like 25 years now?
Yeah, somewhere around that area, I would guess. Yeah.
And you started with a band, was it One Man Religion?
Yeah, yeah, going back in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was man, when the first gig you ever play is opening for Breaking Ben the night they got signed, and they don't know who we are. They have
Right.
no clue. Um, to this day, they don't know who I am. But the whole thing of it is, I was just a weird guy that had makeup on his face. My head was shaved. I had a long pitchfork goatee that went down like halfway my chest. It's just odd. Um, but like I never knew who they were. They weren't signed or anything. So unless you were in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area, you didn't know who these guys were. It was just my keyboard player was connected with Lynn Carey from Media 5. And she's like, hey, you got a band together. It's great. Why don't you open up for this band? They're going to be playing at Bruce Brothers up in Pittston. So they're called Breaking Benjamin. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That was literally it. Nowadays, I'd crap myself.
So so the band One Man Religion opened up for Breaking Benjamin in
Yep.
Pittston.
Yeah, the night they got signed by Hollywood Records, there was like 7 record companies. And before we played a single note together as a band live, my drummer John at the time, he came up to me and he was pretty like always psyched up for everything. And he's like, oh my God, there's like 7 record companies here. And I'm like, I don't need to know that information right now.
Hmm.
So it was an interesting night for
Yeah.
sure.
So, I mean, how did you know they got signed that night? Was it an announcement made, or is that just kind of like they were showcasing for somebody?
They were
And
showcasing. So there were literally at that point, Polyamorous was released as their first official single on the radio. And I think it was Freddie on
Yeah,
97.9 at the time.
Freddie Fabry, that scumbag Yankees fan.
Yeah, and he definitely helped them out a lot from my understanding in the
Hmm.
beginning. But that thing was hitting the radio at that point like pretty hardcore. And it really got him noticed. And of course, Media 5, brilliant on what they do, always have been. And I mean, we walked into a bar, like to me, Bruce Brothers was just another bar, club, whatever. And there's 400 people. I don't even know that how you couldn't barely move.
Yeah.
And then you knew there was something going on. But yeah, I want to say, I don't know if they played 2 nights, but I know that they played that night for sure was a showcase because that's what Lynn had told Dave, the manager.
Hmm.
And yeah, sure enough, I guess I don't know if the companies fought over who wanted them or whatever, but looking back, Hollywood Records makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
for, the new metal to kind of modern rock transition era. Hollywood Records has had a lot of them, man. So it made sense. I'm really happy for those guys for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember that timeline very well. I remember it being on the radio on 979X, or it might have been the Bear at the time. I forget even what it was called, but I remember searching for that. They released like a 4 song EP. I still have it somewhere in my house. I remember searching for it. I was driving from Gallery of Sound to Gallery of Sound. I found it in the Gallery of Sound in Dallas, Pennsylvania. And I remember that very well. And I mean, they're still at it. They're still killing it.
Yeah.
They
I
just
mean,
performed.
some members have come and gone, but Ben was always, my understanding is he was, I didn't know a lot about him at the time. I know he grew up like I think he was from the Selinsgrove area.
Mm,
And there was they were just like, he's an artist in like different in a way. I mean, he's very much about understanding his vision of what he wants to do.
hmm
And what I respect about him is you talk about somebody that's dialed into their voice. Like he's a unique cat, man.
hmm
I mean, his voice is not like anybody else's. I used to think of it kind of like when he went up high, like a bellow, like oh, but nobody else could do it like him and sound as good as he did doing it. And some of the screams he gets out and the growls and stuff like that. He's smart, man.
Yeah.
He's just a really, really talented songwriter. I absolutely appreciate that, dude.
Yeah. I mean, there's killers out there who can just write great music. And then obviously they're hated by uh, the masses because of their success. I mean, you look at Nickelback and Creed and bands
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
that they're just amazing songwriters. And
yeah. I mean, look at Side of a Bullet, the tribute that Nickelback did for Dimebag Darrell when he passed away,
mhm.
when he got killed down in that club. You look at a song that literally is Nickelback sounding like what just happened, and Chad Kroeger just ripping a solo like that. I mean, they don't get any credit for, I mean, now people don't hate as much, but
Right.
they don't get even close to the credit they deserve because Chad Kroeger can sing his ass off and he's a monster on a guitar, man.
Yeah.
And in the community for studio, their mixes are looked like the shit. Their mixes are just wow. Like nobody sounds like them for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of great music out there. A lot of great stuff out there. And what kind of first pulled you into the music and set you on this path?
Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with being a kid. And my dad, he was he played guitar a little bit. We had some friends that came over when I was a kid that played guitar and stuff. And I kind of got into it when I was a kid, like say like late, like not even teens yet, you know what I mean? Like 8, 9 years old, first time I played a guitar for a little bit. But then when I hit my teens, a buddy of mine named Colby Dove played bass, and he really got me into like the aspect of being a musician. So then I just started diving into it. When I hit like 17 or so, my senior year, I was locking myself in my room for like 10 hours a day, just playing guitar, like straight 10 hours a day. Um, Never wanted to be a vocalist. Like no, no, not at all. Um, and we got in a band a couple years later with some close friends of mine, and we're all sitting around and we're all playing instruments, and we're like, well, who's going to sing? And they all look at me like, well, you are. It's the only thing that makes sense. I thought to myself, well, how does that make sense? So I did, and I've been, doing it since. It's weird.
Well, you're the leader. You know, they look to you as the front man, the leader.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It was their call. Like, I mean, I was in another band before that, buddy of mine named Kent, and he had me sing in that band. And he wanted to kind of do a little more singing and stuff like that. But we're kids, and when you're kids like 18, 19 years old or whatever, it's all at that point it's all ego and bickering and shit like that. But um I'm still lucky to be close to these guys to this day, even in a band together or not. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I was like kind of thrust into it. And when you're thrust into it, man, and you're not like normally a vocalist in your head, You're singing stuff you just shouldn't do. I mean, that your voice just probably isn't made for. And you, like some people never find it, but you end up killing your voice for like years until one day you're like, what if I just did something like this that makes sense for me? And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's a whole different world altogether, you know?
So you were never like trained vocally, you just kind of figured it out.
No, yeah, I think as you do things and start doing things over time, I think you really start to get used to the idea of what you sound good doing and what you don't. If you pay attention to what people say when they hear you play, whether it's in bands I've been in over the years or just even some of the solo shows of the last few years, it's like, man, you got to do that one song again, like whatever one it is, you know, and something really sticks out to them. When you realize that people are hearing kind of the same thing that you are, then it's like, okay, that's kind of like you got to find your wheelhouse. Everybody has a wheelhouse unless you're the guy from Dream Theater who has, or Brent from Shinedown that has like a, 3, 4 octave range plus, and it's like, you know, that's just insanity speaking. But
Yeah. And you said you were in a few different bands over the years. Who were some of those?
well, I was in that one was One Man Religion was one of the first I was ever in, and then there was another one called Stone Faith out of the Hazleton area. That was probably early 2000s, a year or so after OMR had broken up. Um, Trial and Error is the first one I was in with Ken. And then there was one called Somewhere Beyond Sunday. That was back in probably 2012. My buddy Steve, Gary, and Ken. And The Negative Effect, which was like how that started. And then a couple people either quit or got fired or whatever. And then we just changed the name and rebranded, so to speak. So that was like a Break and Bend thing with new members, put the same a-hole singing, right? And then the last one I was in was called Uppercut. It was like upper space CUTT with a couple guys over in the Cole Township area. Um, but that's one of those things where we're not together anymore. We haven't been for like a good 2 years, I think, a year and a half, whatever it is. Um, but that's like the notables of anybody that actually played out and did, decently trying to gather a following or anything like that, or release music, what have you.
Yeah. That's a lot of bands over the years.
It is. I mean, and the nice thing
It's
is
not a
I've been
bad thing. I'm
lucky to.
just yeah.
No, it's just it's a matter of, the one thing I got to say is like, and I don't think it was so much ego or anything on anybody's part. I think it's like when it came to you going into a situation, a new situation, and being a front man. The last band I was in, Uppercut, I will say they nailed it in making you feel good, like in the beginning, because they built what they learned to play. Because you're still in the cover world, you know what I mean, doing cover songs and stuff like that. They learned what they played and what the set list was built around the singer they had. So they had a singer with them. I think he's back with them now. Guy named Keith, super sweet guy. They do a lot of classic rock, some 80s stuff, a couple more new ones, but I think more of classic than anything. My interpretation of it. And I heard some video with them when I heard they were looking for a singer, and I'm like, I can't do this 80s stuff. What are they talking? Like my buddies tell me about it. I'm like, what are you talking about, dudes? Like I can't. So, but at the same time, what I didn't know is they were listening to some of my original stuff that I had released an EP like the year before it. And they were like, they're talking like, man, this guy has a couple, things out. He's pretty good. We better get a hold of him. And I'm like, these guys play 80 stuff. I can't sing that stuff. So it's kind of like weird that all the paths crossed the right way, the right conversations had. They found out what I could sing, what I couldn't, I never looked at them as limitations, just some things I suck at and some things I'm good at. So kind of knowing your strengths and they kind of really build around that. So a lot of bands don't do that. Especially when you're younger, you want to build a band because you want to play Disturbed and you want to play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you find that singer and you find somebody who you think can do it, and then they're blowing their throat out. When you're live, they're all energetic and they don't know how to control their voice, and they're blowing it out after a set. You have 2 sets to go. Their voice is cracking for the next 2 hours, and you think they suck. Well, no, they're just doing things they shouldn't do. And, so it's a little bit different where if you want your band to get anywhere, you gotta find that singer's strength. Because if you go to see a band, I mean, I'm sure you've seen plenty of bands over the years. If the singer can't hold it together as a front man and sing very, very well, everybody's like, oh, that band sucks.
Hmm.
Even if it's not everybody's fault. Maybe somebody had a bad night, but you got to make sure you can focus around that vocalist because that's their instrument. You can play guitar all day long, and I've been playing forever. You can play what your strengths are. Unless you break a string, if you practice enough, you're going to nail it if it's, within your realm. But the singer, man, that's like they're bringing the best they have in here. And you got to understand that, whatever their diaphragm and vocal cord gives them, that's what you got. And you should really build around that. That's advice I could give to any band. Always push your boundaries, but don't kill the guy who's the vocalist.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, that's the center, right? That's the kind of the foundation to a degree. There's not many bands that can swap out lead vocalists and continue on. Um, like Breaking
Yeah.
Benj, for instance. He's got a new bass player, guitar player, drummer. But I mean, they're known because of Ben.
Yeah.
And now, granted, like
No
Aaron
question.
Bruck, who's the bass player now, he also contributes a lot of vocals these days, and he's great. But having that mainstay is like so important.
Absolutely. 100%. And that's the thing I think is I don't know that it's lost so much. I mean, I don't deal with like a million bands, on a daily basis, so it's not like I know that, but I can just say from the perspective of looking back on things when I was younger and your ego getting ahead of you, trying to like do things that were out of your range and stuff like that, instead of finding like your personal identity. I think that that's where some people get confused. They want to play in front of crowds, so they play the covers that everybody knows. And you know what I mean? But that's great if you want to be a regional cover band or if you want to be a regional, tribute act or whatever, a wedding band. No shame in any of that.
Hmm.
You play music as a career and make money at it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, who
But
cares?
if you really want to go somewhere and push, yourself to whatever that personal goal in your heart might be, you at least have to know how to build around the strengths and let everybody be the foundation to really push it forward with that spearheaded vocal really hitting the front.
Yeah. And what made what was the tipping point or like defining moment where you decided you wanted to kind of release music under your own name?
Well, to tell you the truth, looking back about 10 years ago, I was at least at the point of trying to write some songs. I mean, I think I wrote two songs, maybe three when I was in One Man at Religion. And then um, I never really went back to him too much, tell you the truth, just because when that band fell apart, I don't know. I think I kind of fell off by the wayside in my thought process and where things were going. Like we brought somebody else in to try to fill some shoes for some people, but it's just they weren't the same. You know what I mean? It's like trying to replace this drummer from hell with just somebody that was kind of check marks in the boxes and nothing like out of the ordinary or nothing like special to bring to the table. So when it came down to it, I thought I always like had a couple tunes that I wrote that I was really, really happy with that I thought they were like, wow, that's really something and got good feedback on them. So they were kind of always in the pocket. But then about 10 years ago, I got this real nice computer and a buddy of mine had Pro Tools and turned me on to that. He knew a lot more than I did, a guy named Soren Byler. And once you have a tool that you can record easier outside of like the old digital recording stations like the Boss BR1180 or whatever, when you can really push the boundaries and you're not limited on tracks and you can add and add and add, then the writing just becomes a little bit more um, easy. I mean, I think there's just something where eventually when you realize you can only do so many covers. I mean, if you're a decent vocalist, there's thousands of songs out there you can sing in your range, whatever they might be. But do you really get anything off your chest? Do you really get to express yourself doing that? I No.
Yeah.
I mean, you drink enough, you can convince yourself that that's what you're doing by connecting with people, but you're really not because nobody really has anything you have to say from your heart when you don't express it.
Yeah. And what is some of your music about? What have you been able to get off your chest over the years?
Well, um, geez, over the years, I mean, tell you the truth, it's funny because the new album Flood, there's a lot of Christian references. There's a lot of biblical references within the album itself, and I'm Christian, like in my way. Um, in my own way, I should say, because like I'm always in my way. But it's when I look back at like things like Reflection, which is an EP I did in 21, that was kind of it was really a lot of things that I was seeing where it's like a lot of people always finger pointing, even in those days, even no matter how stressful things are now. Social media just, makes everything so much worse.
Hmm.
But it was one of those things where it's kind of like finger pointing all the time. And kind of the whole thing of that was just a matter of looking at yourself and trying to improve in some way. And I think that's a general theme that I have in a lot of my music, to tell you the truth. Even if it's like heavier music, I just have some things that, like, when it comes down to that, of just, we've all been through heartbreak. We've all had friends that wronged us, or not even friends, just people in general that we've wronged as well, you know? And sometimes it's just about that human emotion aspect. When I did Before There Were Storms, that was really a release in the idea of, just to give you a couple examples, there was a song called Coward on that one, that got some decent play. And Coward was really a song about me just sometimes being in situations where I kept my mouth shut because I'm trying to save face. But you lose your own identity and you don't stick up for how you feel about stuff. And sometimes you got to be able to do that. Consequences be damned. And
Right.
I mean, may not be the best time to say things of that nature, but it's true. Like, you can't lose your own personal identity. Um, and then with the new album, like I said, there's a lot of biblical references. Like Flood is about the Great Flood, going back in the days of Noah. Answers is kind of like just one of those things where you're kind of soul searching for something bigger in your life, and sometimes the answer's right in front of you. Revelations, that's real simple. There's a book of Revelations. And it's kind of like, well, if those things happen, it's going to be bad, and I'm going to explain it my way the best I can. But it has other songs in it, like Feels Like Home to Me, which is really about my wife and just her relationship with just how she feels about life in general and her relationship with God and stuff like that. So it really just depends. I mean, I have a new album on the way again, that the music's written for 9 out of 10 songs now. And I'll just say there's this new song on it called Low Life. And it's just about how some people look at you. And it's just like, hard to find a highlight being a low life. That's all I'll ever be. Something else. And then at least you can't take that away from me, because some people are just going to think that about you.
Yeah.
And that's what we deal with on a daily basis, no matter what side of the coin you're on, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's not right, but it's just how people can be sometimes. That's all. Damn you, Facebook.
More than ever. Yeah, man. Jesus. We could be here all night with
Yeah, yeah, I know.
the
Some
the
rabbit holes might need to be covered.
the dumpster fire that social media is. It's such a it's so depressing watching, and I'm probably on it too much outside of, doing promotional stuff for the podcast or the radio show, but just the amount of time people spend, you know, posting, 4 or 5 times a day about Trump, or 4 or 5 times a day about Biden, and you know, all these parties fighting back and forth, and then like you get in the comments and it's just people nonstop back and forth, and it's like, imagine what you could do in the time that you spent posting and arguing on Facebook.
Yeah.
I
And
can't
I
imagine.
gotta, oh yeah, man. And I'll be honest. I mean, I put my guard down sometimes on that. I mean, I got into it with somebody the other day for the first time in like a couple years, where I was just like, okay, I'm not putting up with this shit. And I decided I had some things to say. But the funny thing of it is, no matter what, if so, if people have a perception that, well, you said this, so you must mean this, then you're not really going to change that mind
Right.
unless you can just have a actual conversation. If your mind's closed off to what everybody else's views are because you assume what they think, or you just look at the left or right and you think, well, all those people in that group are this or that, you're losing half of humanity in your mindset.
Hmm.
Because not everybody that says one thing means all this other stuff you're trying to add in.
Right.
And
It's
unfortunately, I think the media has had something to program people
Oh yeah,
with. If the
100%.
media doesn't have excitement to talk about, the news wouldn't be the news.
Hmm.
I mean, think about that once. So when's the last time you, like, my God rest her soul, but when I was a kid, we used to go down to her place. She lived in a small town called Pipersville. It's about an hour from Philly, near Doylestown, Quakertown, southeastern PA, you know? And I mean, you turn on the news, which the local news there was Philadelphia, right? And it's like, in the top news tonight, gunshots, blah blah blah, and we're talking like in the 80s, Philly, man,
Hmm.
rough stuff at times. And you never turned on the news, and the first thing was, and in news tonight, this is World News Tonight at 10. I'm like Dave Brinkley tonight. Puppies. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see the news.
Yeah.
You do it for your daily fix of, can I be honest, dude? I mean, you do it for your daily fix of lies and bullshit. Because half the time, most stories that are on there, I mean, outside of the tragedies, that's just, hey, this happened and here we are. But man, the way things are put into a box and clipped together and stuff sometimes, I don't care how you see it, it's just all bad.
Yeah.
It's just, and bad things do happen on a daily basis. But what sucks about that, dude, is I think that people get away from how thankful they should be for the life that they have.
Hmm.
Like how thankful they should be for their friends and family, or sometimes just being alive.
Yeah.
It's like an amazing thing itself. So sometimes people just need to be a little more thankful for what they do have and not rejoice in the loss of others.
Well, going back to what you said, I mean, I think people get off on the negativity. Like that
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like I just finished up the Charlie Sheen documentary. And do you remember him like kind of losing his mind?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
2010, 2011, 2012.
Yeah, man.
He was going on tours and people were like in love with him. And they're watching someone who is literally on drugs on a massive just spiral, and they're
Hmm.
celebrating him. I think he gained, I think it was like a million followers in 24 hours because he was like losing his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And that's what we're like endorsing, and we're supporting, and I'm just like thinking, I'm like, this is a human being whose life is completely out of control.
Yeah.
And it's good to see he's like 8 years sober now, and he's reconnected with his kids, and on a
Yeah.
good path. Like, and that's what the story that I love. Like, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
But other people, like, they just love to see like either a downfall of somebody or just like these bad things. It's just like it's crazy to me.
Yeah. I agree, man. I just I don't get it, man. I don't get it at all. Like I'll be honest, dude. When I saw I will never, ever, ever, no matter what, celebrate anybody getting killed. When I saw what had happened with Charlie Kirk, like recently, and I hate to bring it
Terrible.
up because we're talking music and stuff like that. I want to be
Yeah, we're
careful
talking
about,
life.
but at the same time, I don't want to be careful to the point that I keep my mouth shut. I never saw the dude as evil. I saw where clips could be put together as things were like looked at. Like if you took this one part that was maybe 10 seconds out of a 30-second clip, you could make it look real bad.
Hmm.
And that's what I thought I saw, and and I researched, and that's what I saw people seeing. But the thing of it is, if you've already believed that 10-second clip and said, well, he said this, so this is what he means, and he's
Yeah.
this, and this. Nah, you're not getting it. I'll never dive into that for the life of me. But it's like, man, there's a lot of hatred in this world, dude. There's a
Yeah.
lot of hatred in this world, and it just doesn't have to be that way. Even if you don't agree with somebody in the way that they word things, if you take things in a realistic context of how they're made, like I saw people celebrating, saying
Hmm.
shit I never thought would happen.
Yep.
And I'm like, am I actually seeing people do this? And then the worst part is you're seeing it by the thousands.
Yeah.
And
A
I'm
lot of
like,
people.
wow, there are, and even if you don't like somebody, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, somebody I disagree with passed. I will not celebrate that for 1 second.
No.
I think that's just humanity. You've got to have that. And don't say shit about people that's not true to justify you being broken inside, because that's what it comes down to me. If you're celebrating the death of other people, you're broken and you need some help.
And in the fashion that it was done, it's even crazier.
It's unreal. It's
Yeah.
unreal.
And like, listen, I'm not, you know, pro Trump. I'm very much in the middle. Um, and I didn't know Charlie Kirk's name until that day. I saw clips online. I never saw them and was like, oh man, this guy's an asshole or anything like that. But it was in passing. It's like this doesn't pertain to me. This is not affecting my life. So I would never
Yeah.
like bought into it.
Hmm.
But to see that happen the way it did, it's tragic. It's
It
tragic,
is.
and for people to celebrate it like they are on social media, and it's just it's kind of heartbreaking. I don't know where that leads us as humans. It's very weird.
Yeah. It's weird that you have to have, and this part is my opinion, so consequences be damned. But in my opinion, it really is a point of, and I'm not saying something, oh, left's bad, right's good, right's bad, left's good. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying literally you have people that celebrate this shit, and then you have people that remorse from it. That's the dividing line at this point.
Yeah.
That's really the dividing line. And to me, that says people over here are doing at least an act of celebrating somebody's death, that's evil. I don't care who you are. And then you have another side that's not coming together. And I've seen a lot of worship and I've seen things like that of kind of that whole scene growing. And it sounds cliche, but man, it seems like a lot of good versus evil in
Hmm.
the ideologies. And I'm not saying it's split down the middle, left, right. I don't mean it that way. I just mean because believe me, there's people, like you said, in the middle. You know what I mean? And sometimes in life, you need to be in your own way. You have to for your own well-being here. But man, there is such a deep aspect of good versus evil now in mentalities. It's insane to me.
Yeah, but I also think that you can, to stop someone from voicing their opinion, the answer is to literally murder them. Like that just,
Yeah,
where have we gone wrong? Where have we gone wrong? But then you can
truth.
get into other, you can get into the gun issue and the mental health issue, and it's like there's a
Yeah,
lot of issues that
absolutely.
we're not gonna figure out tonight. But I mean,
Nah.
jeez,
And but we can't what we can't do is we can't say, well, the other side doesn't care about this and the other side doesn't care about this and go back and forth. We can say there's a lot of issues and where you might want to say, well, I think we should tackle this one right now. The other side could say, okay, well, should tackle this one right now. Let's talk about that together and see what we can put to try to handle this whole big issue that is made up of these small things. Let's
yeah,
just try. And if we fail, it's better than where we're at now.
yeah,
And that's what I look at for any kind of conversation, you know? Where did we go wrong? Social media gave people a freaking mouth where it wasn't getting smacked for the shit they said that they never would have 20 years ago.
never.
And
That's
I'm not talking bullying because all that shit was always wrong. I'm
yeah,
just talking in general. It gave you a bigger ego than what you ever had or needed to. You never needed to have an ego like this. You never needed that.
yep,
And people now have it. I mean, Facebook monetizes people. If
yeah,
they get enough followers, they
yeah,
get monetized for going out there and causing shit.
yep.
It's their own news channel.
Well, there's no consequences. There's no accountability. Like, dude, I mean,
I know.
I was just somewhere a couple weeks ago at a bar. I was doing a promo, and there this was like months ago. Um, some kids were removed from the venue. They got in a fight outside the venue, and the kid that got beat up was trying to sue the bar as opposed to the person that did the actual assault. Same place. Um, a guy got bumped and he stepped on his girlfriend's foot, and her foot was broken, and they sued the bar. And I was just like, I never would think to even like that would never even cross my mind.
No.
Like it was a pure accident. Kid got bumped, stepped on his girlfriend's foot, and broke a foot. So
Yeah.
it's the bar's fault.
So yeah, so he probably like, well, I got bumped by a bouncer as he's walking by.
Yeah, I don't even know. That's
Excuse
just,
me. You
but
know what I
it
mean?
just like that would never even cross my mind. It's just like it's an accident, right?
Yeah.
But these it's just like a money grab for some people, and it's like they don't want to be held accountable for like like you got in a fight and you got your ass beat,
Hmm.
and now you want to point the finger at somebody else.
Yeah. But
Uh,
then they look at the video and you see that the dude who stepped on his his girlfriend's foot, he's wearing like the Gene Simmons dragon boots with the 8-inch heels from like the 80s. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, well, that explains a lot.
yeah. We just don't take blame for anything we do. We
I
just
know.
it's just uh, and I don't know if you have children. I have two kids, and I'm 7 and 3, and I have to try and navigate social media when they get to that age. I was gonna hold off as long as I can, but I don't even know.
Yeah, man.
We're not supposed to have access to this much uh, interaction or um, people outside of where we live and
Yeah.
work and play. No, it's just weird.
I wonder if a point came, and this is just me guessing and spitballing here, but I wonder if a point came where when you started thinking about the aspect of seeing kids that all of a sudden at 8, 9 years old, the virtual YouTube babysitter or whatever, where it's like they kind of wanted to do that, but parents became busy and then social media was a thing and took over a lot of people's, like their habits and stuff.
Yeah,
You get exposed to everything under the sun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say the internet ruined things. Facebook can be a good thing. I'm going to say that Facebook can be a good thing. I'll
Blessing and a
give you the
curse.
example. The way my wife uses it, it's literally to share photos of like family and stuff like that. Things about God. Like the way she uses it is just always in a pure sense, and I appreciate that about her more than I can explain to you. The way I use it, I try to use it like for business, for promoting some of the album stuff, promoting, finding places to book new shows, especially pushing the studio work because I'm really shifting as much as I can over towards that too now with working with other bands and stuff. And outside of that, I really don't want nothing to do with it. Like even when I caught myself in the middle of like bickering with somebody the other day, I'm like, "What are you doing, idiot? That was a half hour of your life you're not going to get back." Because
Right.
he was never going to see things different.
Nope.
And even when things seem squashed, it's like, but there's that one more poke the bear thing. One
Yep.
side or the other is going to do, and keep going.
Yep.
That's dumb.
Yeah, and they all jump in and try and pile on.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, it's just, ah, man. Well, again, we're not going to fix it tonight, unfortunately. I wish we could. I
yeah.
wish we could.
Wouldn't it be cool if people saw this right now and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to be different, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden we fix the world.
they're right.
Could you have the "We Are the World"? Do you have that handy to like just play in the background, and you
I
and
do.
I just for the next 5 minutes we close our eyes. Now you have to bite the bottom lip like this and like nod our head to it.
I wish people found this. I got a million subscribers, and then everybody I interviewed, all the local bands and business owners and sound engineers and all this kind of stuff, they kind of blew up too. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would, no
Why
doubt.
can't why can't that happen? Because we're not sitting here spitting hate and
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's just more about like not understanding all the hate and kind of moving on about our day.
yeah,
You know?
I don't know. Well, you mentioned the sound studio. Um
Yeah.
PM Soundscape Studios.
Yep.
You opened that in October of 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just one of those things of, I'm recording my own stuff. Never thought about doing it for anybody else, but some of my stuff started sounding like, I'm not saying like to the level I wanted it to at that point, but definitely better than what I did 10 years ago. And I was like, I never thought about this. I know some musicians and I could really make a go of this. So I just put a little post out and old buddy of mine got a hold of me. He's like, "Hey, I'm sitting on like 7 song EP right now. Um, I would like to do something, I practiced with a couple of our old buddies that, and that was Drucker. He released his EP and it's funny because I think his EP took like the longest of anything I ever worked on. We started first and finished like months later because he's the worst procrastinator in the world, man, in the world. Um, and then it just kind of steamrolled. There was people from like sites like Sound Better, where it's just like a site where you can go and hire mixing engineers, master engineers, air gigs, where it's like a lot of freelance people, like whether it's like as an artist, vocalist, guitar, whatever, other producers, stuff like that. Word of mouth, some local stuff. It's really taken off well. I got two pretty big projects in the middle of right now, outside of my own stuff. And boy, there are days I could bang my head off a wall.
Oh, and where's the studio located?
In Danville.
Danville. Okay.
Yeah, it's just right here at the house. Well, I'm actually looking to put a new facility out in the yard in the springtime. I was going to do it this year, and I'm like, well, the timing will be better in the spring. Get the ground leveled off and get that put up. So, right now, just in the house. It's like a nice area. It's like a pretty decent. It's not like I have like huge outbuildings and all that, like out at Sound Mine in Stroudsburg, Danny Malsh's place. I don't have that, but you got the right equipment and the right ears, you can get the
Yeah.
job done. So, and it's comfortable too, man. And like
Yeah.
Ian and those guys will tell you, it's just you come here, you feel like you're at home, you sit down, the right environment. And big thing for me with the studio is like, there's anybody can move the faders and mix and hit record button and just do that kind of shit. But I like to sit there with people and talk to them about, there's a girl I'm working with right now named Allie Weaver, young kid, just starting to write music herself. And it's one of those things where we started to work on an EP for her. We have two singles done. And today she was singing. I was like, it just doesn't sound like you. Like it's just, I don't know. There's something off about it. And we actually had like an hour conversation about her voice and how she hears herself singing and the approaches she's taken. And we realized like, wow, we really got to redo some stuff right now and change direction totally. So I look at the aspect of more of a producer than anything, because sometimes you got to be able to have a vision to help the artist bring something to life, as opposed to just hitting buttons and mixing, balancing things. Get the best out of them. It's a little different than just hitting record.
I think that's the most fascinating thing about music to a degree is working with a producer who knows what they're doing and can really kind of take the best out of the musicians and
Hmm.
and they hear things differently and they'll add like these little nuances like that like just change the song completely. And
Yeah.
you hear so many times like, oh, I took this song into the studio. Here's what it sounded like when I went in with it, and here's the finished product, and it's like, wow, that's
Yeah.
night and day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But you hear
that's
things, you know? I mean, that's why, like I said, when you're working with somebody, it's weird, man, because there's a, I don't want to say there's a line you walk, but some producers, like, and I'm talking some of the big mixing engineers and stuff like that, like Chris Lord Alge and Andrew Sheps. These are guys that worked with people like Aerosmith, Green Day, Beyonce, Michael Jackson. I mean, you name it, and like some of the biggest names, right? Sometimes you hear something they worked on, like Chris Lord Alge especially. You hear something he worked on, and you kind of know he mixed the record.
hmm
Like there's just something like Hailstorm, one of their albums. I don't know who did the most recent one, but I know he did at least one of them. I believe anyway. And you just know the sound. You know what I mean? It's still the band, but there's something about the way he does a touch to it. It's like so polished and so just nails it. But I think you also have to work with an artist, and while you want to have your own identity as a mixing engineer or mastering engineer, producer, whatever, you still want to get the best out of that individual. So you got to draw a line in establishing what you sound like in producing something and the sound that'll come out of your studio and understanding that you got to squash your ego a little bit and you got to get the best out of them because if you get the best out of that artist, no matter what they do, you help their music so much. And it's more about that. You're going to get a better foundation out of that and you are moving faders and stuff like that. You
hmm
still need that. That's super important.
yeah.
But if you really help to bring the best out of somebody, get them to explore things they never thought of, and to really understand them and get to know them as people, you'll understand them as artists better. I think it's huge to do that.
Yeah, talk to me about the process. A band contacts you, they say, "Hey, Patrick, we want to work with you. What are those next steps?" And like kind of guide me through the process of, I mean, we can go start to finish if you want to.
Yeah.
But what does that look like?
Well, every project's different, as you can imagine.
Sure.
But usually it's a matter of now it's different in a couple different ways. So it could be like somebody wants to come in here on a personal level, like in person. They come here and they already have some songs put together in general that they want to do. Sometimes they just have general ideas. So it all depends from that point. So it's just the contact, whether it's phone or email, website, whatever. And I'll usually try to at least set up a phone call so we can talk first and kind of get the plan together. So if it's somebody in person, like Kitchen Teeth, for example, when they came in, it was because Ronnie was playing bass with on Drucker's album, and he's like, "I got to get Ian in here to talk to you about this band we have going, Kitchen Teeth." And that was a matter of they didn't have a drummer at the time when they first starting out. They had those two, and they had a keyboard player, a guy named Devin, and they had some songs they had all put together. I played. Devin did write some drum parts for the first album, and I ended up playing on the rest of it. So it was really a matter of come in here, get a metronome going, and get those guitars laid down. You know what I mean? Get the right mic in front of it, and literally just record, get really good takes, try to make the room as quiet as possible, you know, um, and just get basic tracks down and just keep building and building and building from there. Now, there's also a point where I have a couple people I work with at this point, well, a decent amount, like remotely. So they might have songs or a little studio where they record their own tracks. They'll send everything to me, like the drum tracks, guitar, vocals, all that stuff. I have to bring them into the session in Pro Tools, typically, is what I use. And then I'll just start mixing things, trying to get the best sound out of them, get everything balanced. So it's a matter of first get those drums slamming, like so they just sound like a big cohesive unit. Um, Try to lay the bass line in the right place to kind of kick with that kick drum and get the bass really, really in time there. And then just getting those guitars to lay just right, get the vocals to sit right in the mix, which is depending on the voice, man, it's so hard to get vocals to sit in the mix properly without the right amount of compression. But it's really just a matter of I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's a difficult process when it comes down to the overall idea. Initial conversation, schedule it up, come in, start laying tracks down, hopefully one song at a time to really know you're going to fire on all cylinders at the end. Um, you put the initial mix together, you get it to the client, make sure that they're happy with what they're hearing so far. Um, and I'll mention Kitchen Teeth because you talk shit about me, you're getting it back. Um, have them beat you to death with every second of revisions that you could possibly imagine, which is their job and it's their music, so they have the right to do that. Get the adjustments made, critical listening, and then just get it mastered to the right level so it's nice and polished for release and help them with the distribution through whoever company they go with. So I want to say it's more difficult than that, but honestly, it's not. It's just a matter of the more prepared a musician is when they come in, the quicker the session's going to be.
Hmm.
Like to be fair, and you'll find things along the way, man, where you want to add, like, I was thinking I should add a little lead part over here. Or can you add this little synth note here? Can we put some strings over here? So there is building blocks and a process to it. But it really, if you ever worked in any studio, it's a matter of when you walk in some places, they have the guitar amp set up, they have the rig, the right mic pick, they know what they're doing, they have their own process going. So you literally can go in there, get to know them a little bit, and then, all right, you want to start laying the guitar down to the metronome? Sure. Click, 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 get the takes done, move on about your day. So if anybody knows how to, if they've ever even recorded on their own, it's not a whole lot different in concept, but it's a matter of having somebody to kind of rein things back and be like, okay, we got to get the sounds right at the source. Um, let's get great sounds right when we start hitting the record button. Let's make sure we have you dialed in so it's going to sound great immediately. And then we'll get you, the song put together the way it should be. I know people that record things, man, and they're like, I'll just fix it in the mix later with an EQ or something. It's like, no, you won't. You're gonna take you might as well fart in a microphone and try to mix it with singing, and then it's like, oh, it sounds great when you balance it this way. You're making your job hard, dude.
Yeah.
You're making it hard.
And as a producer and all that, what do you think is your biggest strength?
Honestly, it is the part of getting things out of clients. I mean, I feel like I have a good ear in hearing things like, and my wife used to rag at me a little bit about this in a good way. She'd be like, she'd look at me and be like, I just want to listen to the song. You know what I mean? And I'd be sitting there like, oh, wait a minute, do you hear that? So I'd pick something out of a song and I'd want to rewind it instead of let the song play. And I
Right.
beat her with that with that so bad for a long time until I got to the point of, all right, I get it. Just chill and enjoy the music, right? But that was the thing. I had classes in school for music theory, and we actually had to get to a point before graduating that we had to write a piece for an orchestra. Well, when you're doing that, you're writing things for like piccolo, like, and next thing you know, there's like a cello piece and like your timpanis or whatever, and you really start getting critical on the idea of hearing music and what it was like to kind of layer it together. So then every little thing started really sticking out to me, and I really started appreciating those things. So sometimes it's a matter of just picking out little things and this the little addition stuff, like you said. Sometimes in rock music, there's like this synthesizer somewhere in there where a guitar is really kicking ass in the chorus, and all it's doing is just giving a little bit of mid range to the EQ to make it sound fuller. That's all it's doing. But without it, sometimes the song sounds empty. So it's a matter of picking up those little things. And for me, the most enjoyable part is just finding that centerpiece as an artist and helping them develop that wheelhouse, so to speak, get the best out of them.
Yeah. And I feel like over the years, it's kind of like, tattoo shops. Back, 20, 30 years ago, there were maybe a couple that were well known, established. Like this is if you want to go get a tattoo, you're going to let's just call it Mark's.
Yeah,
Those are
Mark's
those are
tattooing, right?
that was a big name back in the day.
Yeah.
I feel like it was very similar with recording studios because not everyone had the access to the equipment, knew how to use it. It's expensive, yada
Hmm.
yada yada. I'm sure nowadays with the ease of access, it's more affordable. A lot of guys doing it. Um, is there a lot of competition in that space? And if so, do you work with a lot of them to, create ideas and build a community, or how does that work?
I mean, to tell you the truth, there's a couple people that I talk to here and there that do it. Not as many as you would think. I mean, there is plenty of competition, sure, of course. I mean, the big name up there, if you're in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, everybody talks Encore Studios. You
Mm,
know what I mean? That's the name everybody knows. So I don't want to say like you're battling it out, but I mean, listen, if you have a garbage company and you're going around and you're collecting garbage for people, right? There's probably three trucks you're going to pass on a day to do the same thing that you are, and you still want the business. So any way you look at it, now I do believe in the idea of community. I can't say that I've worked with a lot of other producers and been like, hey, I could tune the vocals up or do whatever you need, if you need anything like that. I have done some freelance work like that a little bit here and there, but nothing major. Um, but there are some good people in community and stuff like that. I've had a couple good conversations with Danny that I mentioned out in Stroudsburg, just short ones, but. Um, Somebody's just a all heart, real good guy and is nothing short of encouraging. And sometimes you just want to ask him, hey, how did you get this guitar tone? You know, what amp did you use? What did you do? Stuff like that. And if you're willing to learn and really have an open mind, you're probably halfway, you're ahead of the game compared to a lot of people because there's some people that won't reach out and ask anything. And I think that's like really, really a dangerous game. So I do reach out to other studio owners, you know what I mean? And sometimes I reach out to labels. There's a label I'm talking to now where they're aware of what I do. They like the music I'm putting out. So I'm on their list of people they may contact for, you know, mixing and mastering for some of their bands. But it's a matter of like, I don't know if all studios are helpful when it comes to, you know, just talking shop, but I find that most studios are. I had one guy, one, and I won't even mention you, and he's not local, but he was, oh my word, was he just difficult to work with over the simplest things and just like half rude. I'm just like, all right, dude. Um, so I was just asking a question. Um, but like I can't say enough about Danny. I mean, he mixed Ghost's last album.
Hmm.
And that thing went, well, number one on Billboard. And you know what's really cool? You have somebody that's getting that well known, like, and he's been on like Warren Hewart podcasts lately. Warren's huge on Produce Like a Pro. He's like huge and he's been around for a long time working with huge bands. And it was so cool because so Danny's worked with people like Andy Wallace. They do some work together, and you're talking some major hitters in the music industry. And when Danny talked to me about mixing Ghosts, like the new album, and he said, I said, it's unreal. And he goes, number one on Billboard. He goes, like that's crazy. Like he was so overwhelmed that something he worked on as an engineer to mix that and put it together went number one. And he was so humble about it, man. And that's like the kind of people I want to reach out to is people like that are just like absolutely the coolest people to talk to, even if you get 30 seconds of their time.
Hmm.
At least I'll take the time to talk to you, you know? I think there's plenty of community to be had. Um, and on some of the message boards and like air gigs where you could have like all these freelancers and stuff, I've seen people that just reach out to each other and compliment, hey man, your EQ curves are awesome. And we talk nerd stuff about like the music part of it, you know? But yeah, there's I know there's plenty of people out there that do it, but there's a difference in between people that do it and people that get the results. There is that much for sure. And sometimes you just got to let your work do the talk and go from there, but always be willing to help others and talk and somebody can help anybody at any point. You learn something from somebody all the time.
Yeah. I imagine like word of mouth goes a long way too.
It does, yeah, for sure. I mean, but you got to nail it for a client. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Never, and I bust kitchen teeth, I know, but the truth is, no matter how bad they beat on me with this little thing and that little thing, that's part of the process. They got to be happy. If they're happy, they'll tell people. Not Ronnie. That's right, Ronnie, because you don't tell anybody anything about anything, including kitchen teeth. Like Ian's always busting his ass for you guys. But outside of that, um, but no, they'd always make suggestions to be like, hey, you got to work with Pat because this and that and blah, blah. It's real comfortable. And he just will work with you. And I've definitely gotten some calls and some messages, especially as of recent, where definitely gotten busier and scheduled out further. So that's made me really happy. And I'm so thankful for everybody I've gotten to work with.
Well, Ian messaged me earlier and wanted me to tell you that he loves you. Just so you know.
I never suspected that he was going to do that. I love him too, no
Yeah.
doubt.
No, tell Pat I love him tonight. Looking forward to listening when it's out.
He's special. He is a special person, man. He's got such a good heart. People don't even know it.
Yeah. Creative mind. It's. I feel like people are born with that. Like,
Yeah. Some of the stuff he writes about, man, his concepts behind some of his lyrics are just like, wow. Like that song, the Albatross, my favorite off their new album. And it was literally about that it was bad luck to kill an albatross when they used to sail on the seven seas. It was all about that. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy to think. The opening line, coup d'etat, the captain feeds the fish. And it just goes from there. And I'm like, what is this song even about? But it flows so good.
yeah,
And I'm just like, wow, that's brilliant. We had to do some work on that one, man, to find where that was going. We had to do some work to really get where we thought it was like, yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, that's cool. Now you're an artist, producer, engineer. How do you balance those roles without, one overshadowing the other?
You don't. Anybody that tells you is lying to your face, dude. I mean, like, it's like as an artist, you want to get the best stuff out that you can because, man, it is hard to hear your own music sometimes and not be critical of yourself. Like forever, you just think I suck, I suck, I suck, and you run through that in your own head because it's easier to go against yourself than it is to go for yourself sometimes, you know. Um, and after years of having that be the biggest problem, eventually you get stuff and put it out, and it's weird too because I'm not like the I just do the best I can. I stay in my wheelhouse. I pray that I do things well, and but a lot of my music, I do it for not necessarily like, oh, look at me as an artist. A lot of it, like I want to be able to express my, my feelings or my views or whatever it might be and get some of the riffs out there because I love playing guitar. But sometimes it's more a matter of I do it for promotion of the studio for more work to put in the showcase than I actually do for the aspect of developing myself as an artist to go further. Because I play a ton of acoustic solo shows because I'm not in a band currently. I don't play stuff like Flood and, Devil Beside You like live on acoustic. Like it just wouldn't translate. So it's kind of like I don't know that my music helps me in the aspect outside of pushing the studio boundaries to say, hey, this is what I can do for you. That's kind of it. So, but to say one overshadows the other, it depends on the list of projects you got, and who you're working with. Because you do have to wear a lot of multiple hats, um, a lot of hats, because you have to have that. I want to lead the artist the right direction and help them like to make sure they're happy and find something in themselves they didn't know was there. And then you have to be able to be like, no, we're doing it this way because this is just not good over here. So you got to like the producer aspect. Then you really got to get that initial mix and that balance right to them to get them sent off and saying, "Wow, I can't believe how this sounds." So then you're wearing the engineer stuff. And then, then it's a matter of like you're the marketing guru, right? So you got to network and reach out to, other people and artists and other studios, like you said, even ask questions and, just, hey, how'd you get started? Like what was a big thing for you? So there's a million hats you got to wear. I mean, on some of the albums I've done, I did a song with a guy named Chris Hetty out of New York recently. He did a Charlie Kirk tribute song, and I did all the music for him. And everything he does, he will send me a voice recording, and I take his voice recording and I record it through the microphone on my phone. And all right, what key's he in? All right. And I'll kind of retime a couple things and I'll build all the music around what he sang to me. And then he goes up to Sweatshop Studios up in New York, records the vocals. They send it to me. I add it in, mix, master, and send it off. So really, there's where I wear a totally different hat as like composer. So it's not just like, hit record and they all play the stuff. Like with Kitchen Teeth on half the album, I played drums for the both albums. I played like half the drums on. So it's really a matter of be ready for whatever project presents itself when it does, because you don't know what you're going to end up doing. I've gotten hired to do vocals on people's wedding songs. You just never know, man.
Yeah. What do you like more, working on your own stuff or other people's?
Other people's because it pays the bills.
Fair.
I mean, now I like writing, and I if I could just write and express, and my family be taken care of, like the wife and JJ, our son, um, yeah, it'd be awesome. But I don't know. There's something about it though when you get to hear somebody's idea come together and then really bring it to life for them in a way they never heard it in their head. That's really kind of the payoff. The fact that you get paid for it, I'm so thankful every day for that. And of course, I mean, I play the shows, so it's not like I just sit in the studio all day and that's all I do. I mean, the shows really offset things too, and that helps a lot as well. But still, yeah, I definitely like to work with other clients and help them out. That's cool.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably a little more rewarding almost.
Yeah, because the only person you're pleasing when you're in the room when you're writing something is yourself in a way. You know what I mean? It's that's just a weird feeling in some ways. I mean, some friends of mine and I have been talking. They've actually came to me and said, "Hey, if you want to start playing some of this stuff out, we'll back you. We'll put the band together. We have no problem with that." So I'm not saying it won't happen. I mean, I don't want to play more and more and more because weekends come and I'm away a lot, and I don't always want to be away every weekend when the wife's home.
Hmm.
She's got a normal human schedule. I'd like to spend more time with her. That's
Right.
like the goal here. Um, but to be able to say that, wow, we played that album out, that would be pretty killer.
Yeah.
So we'll see. With things like Jam Kazam, where you can actually jam and practice online, like remotely, it makes it a lot easier for us, man. So the idea is definitely there. So we'll see.
Okay. Okay. And what is your vision for PM Soundscape Studios in like 5 years? Are there new services, new geographies, new genres you want to explore?
I don't think it's a genres thing to tell you the truth. There's a genre I want to stay away from. It's probably like orchestra stuff. Scares the hell out of me. I don't want to record your French horn. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Um, well, I worked with people from hard rock, metal, Kitchen Teeth, as you know, is acoustic rock. That's not, to me, that's, I don't know what genre you call them. To me, it's acoustic rock. I mean, I tell them, I said, you're real close to the balance of rock to country
Hmm.
because there's no electric guitar, no heavy, you know what I mean? No aspect of that, so to speak. It's just unique. And I was like, you're so close to being that crossover. I've worked with a couple of country artists. So, I mean, that's been really cool. Um, I actually had to produce a country song for a guy from Ireland. I wrote an entire rock album with a guy from Australia. Well, he sent me his lyrics, and as he would say, Matt would say, very bad recorded version of this. And he'd send me a chord chart, and dude, the chords are always wrong. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. You're telling me A minor, you're nowhere near the chords you wrote down here. So I'm figuring it out, but they'd have me produce. So there's a different role in the aspect of like somebody sends you lyrics and you have to build the whole idea from scratch. And and they get credit as a songwriter. I don't really know how that works, but that's where you're a composer and producer. I would just say that within 5 years, and this is way before that point, I don't plan on playing out much more than the next year or so. I really don't. Um, the studio's definitely been getting better, um, getting busier for sure. So it's a matter of I want to be busy enough where I have enough time to be able to spend with the family on the weekends. Like, and sometimes I'll play, don't get me wrong. While I still have the voice and can play, I will on occasion. But I would say that I want to just keep working with, I would say bigger and better bands, but I think I look more at the aspect I want to help bands get better and bigger. I'd rather help them like on that journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. If like Linkin Park or somebody's like, hey, you know what? I think we want you to mix our next album, I'll be like, why? And then I would just do it. You know what I mean? But working with a couple of labels, like I said, the opportunity may come up this year. I won't mention the label's name because we just had a recent conversation. If something comes out of it, I'll let you know. But they've been very cool about everything. And I've actually, they own a radio station too, like a pretty big thing. And they've started putting my stuff in rotation. So
Nice.
I'm like, all right. So they like the music and they like the sound of it. And they're like, oh, by the way, we own this record label. So you know what I mean? That's kind of how it came up.
Yeah.
I'd love to just see more of that. Um, and the thing of it is, man, with the recording, the engineering and mixing and stuff, it's limitless almost what you can help people with because there's people that do this where they do movie scores.
Right.
Old buddy of mine, Nick Coyle, and I'm sure you probably know Nick's name for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude did mixing on Teen Titans Go, the cartoon, for a long time. A lot of people don't know that.
Hmm.
So he worked for Warner Brothers doing that specific cartoon, doing the sound for it. And I'm like, it's like my favorite cartoon of all time. It's ridiculous. You made a living mixing that.
Yeah.
It's like, but super talented musician and songwriter too. So,
Yeah. He's awesome. I've been following him
yeah.
for, I'll never forget the day I was introduced to that band. At the time it was uh Stranger with Candy.
Yeah.
Uh I was living at home at the time and my dad, all I heard was my dad yell from downstairs, John, you gotta come down here and see this. There's this band from Wilkes-Barre on MTV.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know what you were doing on MTV, but okay. I ran downstairs and it was they were doing that show on MTV.
Battle of the cover bands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Strangers with Candy. And then it was Lifer. And then he's been in several.
My
I,
Downfall. He went to Cold for a
yeah.
while.
The Drama Club was great.
Yeah.
Stardog Champion was great. His most recent one, why does this always escape me?
Death Valley Dreams.
Death Valley Dreams. I
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely love that album and
Hmm.
what he's done with that. Yeah, just yeah, super talented.
And and I got to tell you, I mean, Death Valley Dreams is nothing like I ever expected out of him. Because there's so much like it's almost like Bowie influence. Like there's
Hmm.
like 80s stuff and synth, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I told him, I was like, wow, man, like where did this come from? Like, it was just one of those small conversations we had and just talking about daddy life and stuff like that. And just wow, it was just weird that's where he ended up.
yeah,
I never saw it from him.
yeah. That might be. Well, Drama Club was good. All of it. I love all of it.
Yeah.
But another talented guy. Just whatever he puts his hands on turns to gold. So.
Yeah, no doubt.
And as far as your music, I mean, what do you hope that people take away from your music?
That's a great question. Because I think I get so many different things out of it. It's different when you create than when you listen.
Sure.
It's really hard to say, man. It's almost like being at a show I did over the weekend for somebody, and it's a private show, and it was funny because some people I hadn't seen for years that were there and knew me, but they're like, "I never knew you sang like this. I never knew," and that was cool and everything. And then one buddy looks at another one. He's like, "Yeah," he goes, "He's like one of the best guitarists I ever heard," which was a ridiculous compliment coming from him. Because I don't see myself that way. I just do what I do. You know what I mean? So maybe it's like I just hope they hear the music and they get something out of it when it comes to like the overall aspect of enjoying the song. Sometimes as simple as getting that head going and, that beat to make you forget about something. But sometimes I just want you to hear something in the song, relate to it, and really hopefully it makes you think in some aspect or the other. Whether that's find yourself in a tough situation and realizing you can get through it, finding God, whatever that might be. I just hope people get something out of it that gets their life in a better place. And hopefully I've written something that'll make somebody see things a little differently and make them feel maybe motivated to, accomplish something in their life or turn their life around if it's in a bad place or whatever.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's helpful to somebody, I'd be super happy even knowing I help one person.
Hell yeah. It's awesome.
And like damn with the rest, like
That was
there's that. No. That'd be so stupid. Anyway, if I actually felt that way, I'd feel so dumb.
right. When you're not writing, recording, producing, what do you do for fun?
Every chance I get to spend some time with the wife, we do. And I don't care what it is. It's funny. We each got iPads this year, so it's like we have this game right now. I think it's called Screwdom, and it's like you have screws that you take out of things, but they're colored, and you have to put them in these boxes, and it's like it gets very tough. We'll sit on the couch and each have our iPads out, just messing with that and telling each other how we're doing. Watch football sometimes, maybe sometimes watching a movie. Um, Pray a little bit. I don't read too often. I spend too much time on YouTube trying to learn. I'm always trying to learn something new, man. When I really decided the studio thing was going to happen, this is not a joke. 70 to 80 hours in the studio every week. And I'm talking whether it was watching things to like learn this and try this, whatever it was, listen to old stuff, remixing things, whatever. Um, Sometimes just like we have a river lot we like to go to when the weather cooperates, when it's not 90 degrees out, and when things actually go as planned. But yeah, I mean, as long as I get to spend time with her, man, I'm always having a good time. She's one of the funniest people I know. So cool and laid back. You're not gonna air this, are you? So she hears
Oh
that?
yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
always joke because I mean, schedule's pretty busy. I do this at night, when my kids are in bed, and I'm sure that my wife likes the break from me, once a week or something like that. But I always make a joke. I'm like, I actually like spending time with my wife.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
good
it's
thing.
like there's just nothing. Yeah. there's just nothing like it. I mean, honestly. And you know what's weird, man? It's like we could talk about anything, but it's cool that there's times where we just sit there and like, and I'm not even talking as a movie on. Like our one dog, Zeus, he and it's funny, he's a Chihuahua that has like two bad legs. I mean, he walks still, but it don't look right. You know, he's all and this is going on. But and he's older, you know, but but what a mighty name. He'll sit on the couch and just sit there, either looking at the TV, but we'll put it on it and they have like this it's a Vizio TV and it has some kind of thing with like this nature scenes and stuff like that and cityscapes or whatever. And it's just cool and it has this nice relaxing music and he'll just sit there and fall asleep, listen to that. We have that going on for him. And that's going on in the background. We're playing our game and sometimes we don't say anything for like half hour, nothing. But we're both so comfortable. You know what I mean? Like you're
Hmm.
just there and it's like that person. It's like a completion feeling. I can't describe it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to find in life.
And we talk about our dog's toe beans. So you ever look at the bottom of a dog's paw and you know those little the
Yeah,
nubs?
yeah.
We call them toe beans. And
Okay.
like we rub their toe beans. And the one dog, Esme, she's ticklish. You see her lip going like that, like she's ready. She would bite me if she thought it was the appropriate response, but she's not a violent dog to me. So yeah,
Yeah, I just got a
it
dog
was.
last year. I was so against it.
What'd you get?
She's a like a border collie lab mix.
Okay.
We rescued her. But it was
Like
just
from a
some,
well, like Lassie?
yes, exactly.
Oh, nice. Nice. Way to go.
No, I was not I had dogs growing up, but we're so busy and I'm like, man, like and my wife, of course, she's like, it'll be great for the kids and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a lot of responsibility and they're not inexpensive and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say we're a year and a half in now. I wouldn't say that I'm totally sold yet, but I'm getting there, I guess.
You're a year and a half in, dude. The sale's over. I'm just letting you know. I
Yeah, I mean
mean,
it's
the
not
time
going
to
anywhere.
decide,
Not
yeah,
going anywhere, but
the time to decide is definitely past.
well, yeah, I mean I didn't have a choice to begin with. It wasn't I didn't have a choice. It was here. But
I mean, I got eight cats down here with me.
I like
It's
cats. I used to have two, now I have one, but they take care of themselves and
yeah. Yeah, I tried to start teaching them how to feed themselves. So I have this big thing of like food, and I put the one in there and I just look at it and it just looks at me, and I'm like, okay, that's not gonna work. So I thought about just carving a hole in the side of the bag and just slam it on the floor and hope for the best. But no, they get wet food and all that stuff. I got to take care of them the right way.
yeah,
They're pretty cool creatures. There's one named Scarlet that has no teeth because she had to have surgery. No teeth. It's hilarious when you get
yeah,
a good look at her. She's there. There's nothing, dude, nothing. She's the most fierce cat towards other cats.
yeah,
And she's small. She's small, a tiny head, you know. They run from her.
yeah.
I'm just like,
You gotta make it
you know,
known.
she can't bite you, right? Like at all. Like there's no biting. Just go bite her.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah. The other seven cats fear her ass
it's
hard.
good. Gotta make the presence known. Fuck
Yeah.
around.
And then she comes around me and she's constantly like rubbing on my legs and shit or jumping up in my lap while I'm mixing something. I'm like, you got to get down, baby. I'm busy right now. And
I think I saw
yeah,
one
they're,
before when we first started.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. I
When we
don't know
first,
where. I just saw a head recently. One of them sleeping and yeah, no idea where they are. Up in the ceiling. There's actually a couple ceiling tiles missing. I can't get tiles that match the ceilings if we want to redo it. But there was a couple years back. I mean, just got done cleaning, heavy cleaning down here, and running the vacuum. Everything looked really good. Stands wiped off, right? And I'm sitting there just relaxing in the glory of getting something done. And all of a sudden, you hear like a and I was like, what? I look over three ceiling tiles with three cats falls through the ceiling, completely came off the rafters, smashed everywhere into the TV, which stayed up, so it was fine, and just broken tile pieces and dust everywhere. I just look over, I was like, I can't have anything nice. And they
no,
just run, and I had to start cleaning, and there went 2 more hours. So stupid.
yeah, assholes,
Yeah. Yeah, I
assholes.
love them, but my God,
I know.
give it a rest.
Well, we'll wrap things up with some fun rapid fire questions.
Got it.
One song you wish you wrote.
Lie by Dream Theater.
Okay. Favorite album of all time.
Alice in Chains Dirt.
Guilty pleasure song or band.
Tool.
That's a guilty pleasure?
Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. I mean, I don't listen to them constantly. When you work on music as much as I do, you don't even listen to your own stuff, like other stuff outside of like work. So listening to other people's music is my guilty pleasure.
Well, I was looking more something like what's
Rusted Root.
okay, all right, all right.
How's
Was it
that?
what the hell's that song? It was was it Fergie? Maybe yes, it was Fergie, Big Girls Don't Cry.
It's a good tune.
That was, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
it
I
is.
gotta say, I
But
agree.
yeah, but that's like, someone said, "What's your guilty pleasure?" That's what that would be for me. So
Yeah,
that you go and tell
well,
everyone.
well, if that's the case, Duran Duran all day,
All right.
all day. Yeah, what's the one I really like? "Come Undone" is an amazing song. I could drive around listening to that like big time. But I mean, even the old stuff, I don't care. I don't know, something about that band.
Okay.
But I don't tell everybody. Now I did.
All right. You told about five people. Look
Yeah.
out.
Sweet. Look out. It's gonna be the five that I don't want to know.
Right. If you could tour with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna say Seether
Okay.
because we saw them live, and I'll be damned if Sean Morgan doesn't just look like he's having a great time, man. He loves music, and he's just a down to earth dude. I think that would be great.
I love that band. Their
Yeah.
early stuff was like from like early 2000s to like mid late 2000s
Oh yeah.
bangers.
Yeah. No question about it. His voice just lasts, man.
Yeah.
He just keeps going.
And what band would you want to do production on or for?
Hmm. That's a great question, in all seriousness. You know what? This is when you know you reached the Mecca because I mentioned it before. If I got contacted to mix a song for Nickelback, I'd shit myself. There's no nice way to put it. Because if you did that, you're apparently like the go-to guy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because their sound is just huge. If that ever happened, and it won't, but if that ever happened, I'd be like, for like 5 seconds, I'd say, I'm gonna have a big ego right now because I can't believe this just happened. And then I would just let go of it because,
Yeah.
still the same dude. That'd be crazy. Not even a huge fan. I love what they've done. I don't hate them at all. But that's just one of those things that people in the producer circle,
Yeah.
you can shit on them all you want to, but that production, those mixers just kicked your ass and you know it.
Hmm.
You know?
What's one thing fans would be surprised to know about you?
Oh boy. Um, Probably just the like the eccentric of the music taste, you know. I mean, I'd say the cats sometimes because not everybody thinks that I have eight cats, which I don't think is that obscure. But around
I think the
Christmas
number
time,
is obscure, right? I mean, regardless of who you are,
it was nine.
that's a
Then my
lot of
oldest Bruce passed away,
that's a
so
lot of cats.
yeah, it is. But I would say outside of that, I'd have to say that I love listening to the Nutcracker Suite, Tchaikovsky around Christmas.
Okay,
That is huge for me. I need to hear that. And by the way, one other thing I wanted to point out about artists, Brandon Lake. He's a Christian artist. He's amazing, part of Elevation Worship. I would mix and work with that dude any day, any time of the week. I had to add it in. He's just crazy good.
cool.
Crazy voice.
Well, what else would you like people to know about Patrick Motta before we wrap things up?
I suck. No.
You're the worst.
Yeah, no. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think we really touched base on a lot of things. The big thing of it is like I just the one thing I would hope that people get out of me is I try to be cool about things the best I can. I try to work with people in a way that makes them feel respected, makes them feel cared about, because that sometimes is lost. Um, I try to always have my heart in the right place. I care about my family and more than I could ever explain. My relationship with God's really important to me. Um, but I don't ram it down people's throat. I know it sounds weird. I'm not saying everybody does. I'm just saying it's not for everybody. Eventually it
Sure.
will be, but and then but that doesn't hold me back from working with anybody. I just say, like anybody that would want to just either listen to my music to see what my vision's like or to see what I could help them do with it. I think it's just one of those things where I think it would really give them a surprise to have just an open-ended conversation with me and really dive into stuff like that. Would be pretty cool. I think that's what people should know about me.
Yeah, well, I hope people get that from this conversation because I definitely have. So
Cool. I'm glad, man. And I'm actually glad, like I said, the guys, even with lying about you, with the good things they said, I really appreciated the aspect of where they were coming from. They're like, we just talked to him like forever afterward. He's just such a good dude. And I was like, that is awesome, and I always got that impression out of you. You know what I mean? Now I get to, and I listen to the radio. I don't listen to the radio as much as I do because a lot of times I don't even take the time to listen to music sometimes outside of what I'm working on and things like that. Because the good news is when you get behind on stuff and you have a lot of work to do, that's where you want to be. But man, if some clients can make up their mind on one damn instrument on a song, I can move on to the next one. You know what I mean? And maybe it wouldn't always be like that. But I always liked how you present everything. You're really cool with how you interact with the artists in the podcast too. I mean, I just appreciate a lot of what you do. And the fact that you are just so laid back and trying to bring some light to artists in the area, man. Like for whatever they do.
that's all I want to do, man. Like, you know, I started this because I had the radio show and it got put on hiatus. And I was like, fuck, like, I've been involved with musicians my entire life. I used to live with some of them. I go on the road with some of them. And when I got that radio show, I was like, man, this is like peak for me. And I was doing a podcast with that as well, because I wanted, you could do an interview on the radio, but it was always like, oh, you have a show coming up or a record coming out, and you get like, the 2, 3 minute interviews. I was like, let's do like in-depth conversations. And I was a huge Joe Rogan fan, and I wanted to kind of bring that to this. And show got put on hiatus. So I was like, all right, well, just fuck it. I'll just keep doing this.
Hmm.
And I jumped in, and since then the show came back on the radio, which has been cool. But yeah, I mean, I find it fascinating how talented, um, you know, these musicians are in our area, and I just want to share it with anyone who will listen. So
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. I mean, I'm really thankful for some of the people that I've gotten to work with over the years. And I'm talking everything from like, not only just artists I record, but like ones I've gotten to play shows with where I don't care if it was benefits, people opening for us, opening for other people, just even open mics. Sometimes you get to an open mic and you meet some musicians that are just like some of the coolest people that you'd ever want to meet and just so laid back and so talented. It's almost stupid. And it's really cool to go to something like that and be like, I've been to a lot of open mics, man. Where's people playing blues and stuff like that, the more laid back stuff. And I'll go in there and do 90s Seether cover of something. You know what I mean? Like Driven Under acoustic. And it's like to come together with so many different genres and so many different feels, but also be so respectful of what everybody's doing as an artist is the coolest thing, man.
yeah,
It's so cool.
yeah. So well, thank you for the kind words. I do appreciate it. It
Of course, man.
means a lot to me. And Flood from Patrick Motto is available streaming now, as well as a bunch of other ones. So go check that out. And like I said, we're one step closer to meeting in person. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, I definitely got to get some more shows up in your area. I'm getting ready to start booking for the last quarter here and next year in that area. So, yeah, I mean, Wilkes-Barre Scranton's got a lot of places. There's a few I'm trying to work on pretty fierce. I've been playing this Scrantastic, the fireworks thing for the
Yeah.
last, oh my God, I think I played it 4 years in a row now. A couple with Uppercut and then myself solo for a few years with Kitchen Teeth the last two. So maybe we'll be up there again. We'll see what 2026 brings. But I
Did,
definitely want to get more in your area, man.
did you make it to their album release show?
Yeah.
Nice. I wanted
Yeah, I
to.
actually oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, that was Rock God.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the first one they had was over at Spyglass on the Ridge Winery. And so I ended up mixing that show for them. And I actually opened for him too. So it was kind of cool to um put things together. But yeah, that was a good show. They did a really solid job and just a good crowd, good reaction to everything. And they sold a lot of stuff, man. People were like, I need a t-shirt, I need a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And they're signing it. I'm like, your signature looks horrible. Just
Grow up.
yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I can get out more. I feel like I feel so guilty like doing this, like, promoting all this music. I'm telling people to go see them, go check them out, support their music, blah blah blah. And then here's me that I don't get out nearly as often as I'd like to, just because, like I said, two kids, wife, house, baseball on the weekends, baseball every Monday, Wednesday. It's a lot. So it's like it takes a lot for me to like get the energy. Like, all right, I'm gonna go out tonight, and it goes back to too, like my wife and I are so busy. She's in graduate school. Like she's going for MBA. She works full time too. So it's like we don't get a lot of time to spend together. So it's like, all right,
Exactly.
Saturday night, I want I want
Yeah.
to spend time with my wife.
And that's the thing, I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of people respect is just the aspect of when we're at the stage of life where we're at, where we're looking at it like our family matters so much. Some of the younger musicians, man, like, and I'm talking like even in our area or some of the bigger cities, if they would just dive into it now where they don't have any of the stuff, and they will at some point, where they don't have any family or anything like that going on, dive into your music, go for it. Don't
Yeah,
do covers, do originals, go for that shit because nobody else is doing it. There's not a lot of competition out there with younger bands.
yeah,
Go now and do
yeah.
it.
Take advantage of the
Because,
time.
but at the same time, where I'm at, I could have done things differently through the years, but I wouldn't trade where I'm at. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like that's the thing. So I mean, hell, when the guys play out, I play when they play. So it's not like I'm sitting here, like, hey, we're playing Saturday. I hope you get to see us. Dude, I'm playing in Lock Haven. I'm gonna be
Hmm.
nowhere near you. So that's the one aspect for us that's like really tough. We don't get to see each other play unless we do a show together. And that can't be, I can't always open you. I don't get paid enough to open for you. You know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Is the onion still in?
The Onion's on his way out
Okay.
for sure.
I saw that. I saw they were looking for a new
Yeah.
drummer. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, and I don't want to speak too much about it because, like, I have enough information.
We probably shouldn't. We probably shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's just time for both of them. It's not really, it doesn't have to really be a bad thing. I think there's just situations where it's like, if you're not into something the way that you want to, your heart's not into it, like music wise or styles or whatever, sometimes styles clash, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. That's not a disrespectful thing. It's just a matter of, I think that's the point they're at where it's just like, it makes it easier. And any band, especially when you live an hour away from each other, is a hard commitment on all
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
And I think once you start getting into it and realizing the time that it takes on all sides, it really becomes like, oh man, this is tough. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they've
You
got
get,
a good nucleus with Ian, Ronnie, and Omer together. They do
yeah.
have a good nucleus. Nothing but the best for Bobby because he's still playing in his own situations and stuff like that. So it's like a good thing too. So
Yeah. You get
things will
excited
come and go. And
when it first starts. You get excited. Oh yeah, I can do this. I can drive an hour, once, twice a week, whatever it is. And it's like, wow, it's a lot of time in the car. It's just a lot of time away from,
yeah.
family and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, I had a band that was actually in. Is Swoyersville up your way? Does that
Yeah.
sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, well they were in there and I tried out for them as a vocalist, and they didn't hire me. They found somebody else they went with, but I played with them like 3 times just at the practice area. And the thing of it was, you would have never known it wouldn't have worked because I was in my element. I was hilarious, dude. I'm gonna lie to you. I was funny as hell, and we would just all laugh like idiots together as a group. And I was like, man, the chemistry was there.
Yeah.
But they found this dude that was like a Chris Cornell in the area, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm out. You know what I mean? Sometimes it would have been worth it, in
It's
some
yeah. It's
scenarios.
been
But
fun.
yeah, but I've had plenty of times where I had to drive like, a good hour and a half for a practice and stuff. And that's where something like I said, this Jam Kazam thing, man, to be able to practice and just like put something together. Now, granted, you're not always going to hold online concerts like what they did in COVID.
Right.
So it's like, but if you were together like in a centralized location and you really had your shit tight, you could start scheduling and you could put things together and like, hey, they want to practice Thursday night? Sure, I'll be on it like whatever time. And it's funny too, because here at the studio, I've got a Fesley electronic drum kit. Now, and now I'll go back into the music thing real quick, but like, so people talk about like using drum samples, right? If you ever saw how Breaking Ben's song Lights Out was mixed for that album by Dan Corniff, you understand that the actual sound of the drums that was recorded with the mics, here's the kick. It's like, doof, 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 because you got to put blankets over and stuff so it doesn't bleed to every other microphone on the kit. And then you got to cover with a comforter and stuff, but then you have samples you kind of blend in to give back what was missing out of the sound. And that happens on 90% of the rock songs that are out there now. So I have this electronic kit with the mesh heads. It feels perfect. It's natural. Bobby loved the Onion loved the thing. The Onion. I love an Onion King. But it's like I can get somebody dialed in with any drum they want almost in the world, from 1960s Pearl kit all the way up to the most modern Tamas or whatever. So it's kind of like you have something like that, and you can plug it in. You can go right into an interface and practice. It'll sound like you do live or record with it or whatever. The technology is great, man, if you use it the right way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Another blessing of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
For the few there are, when you look at the big picture.
yeah. Yep. Well, best of luck with all the music. Best of luck with the studio. And like I said, hopefully I will see you soon.
Absolutely, man. I'll keep in touch with the schedule and let you know when I'm around.
Awesome. Take care, buddy.
You see, man.
I'll see you.
See ya.